Okay, hello, honey checks. It looks like there's audio going through. Welcome to another Electron dance transmission. We haven't had one for a couple of months because I was busy. And I've just occurred to me that I have so many wires. I just hope it's all okay today. There's the headphone wire, there's the microphone wire, and then there's like the controller wire, which is really, I'm worried if it's going to get tangled up, and that'll be the end of it completely. Right, so I will get straight on to qrth-phyl. That's what we're going to start off with. Later on we'll touch on Storyseeker, Evergarden and Ellipsis. And it should actually just all fit nice and neatly into 1 hour. So let me just open up qrth-phyl now. That pops the, yes, those are the launch parameters. Right, stick my head in the corner. So, this is qrth-phyl. Originally, it came out in 2012, and I played it then, and I loved it deeply. And it's actually been released on Steam recently with a number of little changes. So it's been enhanced in various ways, and one of them is quite obvious here. There's not only a leaderboard you're looking at, but a leaderboard where I am ahead of Reagan Burns of Metanet, who made N++, and that has to be one of the most important enhancements made to the game. So there's a leaderboard, and there's some more extra tweaks to the levels and so forth. So I'm just going to get into it, and using the controller, show you what this game is. It's Snake, but not as you know it. Right, so here we are, Snake coming up, and off we go. So, it's just an almost kind of Snake game where you just pick up the dots and you get longer. If you notice the grid in the corner, as I pick up more dots, then the grid slowly fills up and I get longer. There's also the green, what should we call them, power pills, which create great big lasers, which will kill you. Now they only last for a little while. And you can turn over onto the other side here. You can see this here. So I just need to get the grid full, and then I can move on to the next level. Now the A button will speed me up. You might be wondering why I need to do that. So we'll talk about that once we get inside. So then you have levels which are inside a box, and that's what happens. You alternate. You have inside level and then an outside level. And as you can see, the grid is a little bit finer now in the bottom right corner than it was before. And yes, the further along you go in the game, the more the heftier the requirements are you to finish the level. So let's just get started. So pick up 4 here, and as you can see, there's more and more spawning as I go around. Now they don't spawn forever. There is always a kind of a limit to how much they're going to spawn. But you can actually leave a level before the spawning has run out. Now, what I want to point out is when I get 1 dot, that went up from 117 to 118. There you go, 118 to 100 whatever. I'm not looking for it. 121, yes. So 1 dot is 1 point more or less. And if you get several in a row, it's like a combo happens. The score goes up for every point you get. That's why these big green pills are quite useful, because they can grab a bunch of dots at the same time. And that's another reason why you might want to speed up, because if you go from one set of dots, you want to get to the other one and get the combo, like that, something like that. By this point, the combo's gone. There's nothing indicating, as far as I'm aware on the screen, whether you're still carrying a combo or not. But you know, we don't mind about that so much. So that's one reason why you might want to speed up. See, now that I've finished the level, and there's still plenty of dots, and if I want to be hungry for score, I might want to keep on using up all the dots in the level. but I'm getting rather long and it's getting a bit more tricky not to get killed by myself. Now, you might be wondering what that blue thing is around there, and it basically is the nicest thing in the game, if ever is the nicest thing. If you grab the blue thing, your entire tail turns to dots, and you get short again. And this is a massive way to get a bonus in level. Now, it doesn't happen every level. Whoa. It doesn't happen every level. I'm not doing too well on this today. Of course, I'm being watched by thousands of free strangers. It doesn't happen every level, but it's a great way to get a big pickup. I'm on 544 points now, it's up just 2 levels. Okay, so we've got another outside level, and it can be a bit disconcerting. When you start going on an outside level, oh, okay, it's corrupted. Uh-oh. Never like this. Yep, good. Yeah, I never like these levels. They're always very frightening because you don't know where the red squares are going to appear. Oh, this is relatively safe and harmless here. That's good. I'll just stay here for the rest of the day. Right. Okay, so working my way around here. Okay, that's the next level going inside. Here's another reason why you might want to speed up. I'm in here with 2 snakes who are moving around of their own accord, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. They'll just keep on moving, and at times you notice that might be getting in your way. You might have to make a break for it to get by them pretty fast. So that's another reason why I got the speed up button. The other thing you can do is the shoulder buttons on the controller will rotate you. And when I first played this, I thought, what is the point of rotating? And the point is, it can be really difficult to see sometimes when it gets quite busy. So sometimes you might want to move the camera, basically move the camera around so you can see properly. There's another feature of these levels, which is kind of, of the mechanics of the game, which is probably saves you a little bit and also is quite, whoa, 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 oh, very close. If you get close to a surface, the game will try and help you veer off. It will sort of like nudge. It will nudge the snake one way. The scent snake. There you go. That's a great description from Salty Horse. And it'll try and nudge you. I'm sure that's helped me a few times, but I only tend to notice it when it kills me. It's not that it nudges me necessarily into death. Whoa. It's more the fact that it can make the controller feel sticky, and I don't think there's any fix for this. It's just, it is what it is, because it probably saved me more than it's killed me. And oh dear, it's very difficult. Whoa, whoa, I can't see. How did I not die? Probably see I was saved by the thing I'm complaining about right now. Probably nudged me away from surfaces. Okay, where's the exit? Lost the exit, there we go. Let's go out again. Now, go to a flat level, but when you've got higher requirements, it can be quite dangerous on a flat level. Because your snake gets quite long quite easily, as you can... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, I think it's safer on the other side now. You don't get that many flat levels. They're actually quite rare. Usually more complicated cubes or rectangular structures. And I find that whenever I finish a level, I'm always like... phew, thank goodness that's over. And then the next level starts, and very quickly, within a few minutes, you're like, oh, I hope this is over. So it's procedurally generated. There are quite a few different variations. This one is just a pretty empty box at the moment. Yeah, it's quite a small box actually. the issue comes when you start getting quite large. Now, what else was I going to say about this? Yeah, there are other variations. You've seen the snakes, the other snakes, and there's ones where there are red columns that start to come into the... Whoa, I'm catching up on my tail, that's a problem. And there's one where these red columns start jutting into these little rectangular sections. But then the other variations, there is the very rare, what's called a flow field by the achievements, where there's a wind and that affects how the snake handles. But they're not that common at all, quite rare in fact. But I have seen them twice since I've played the new version. I only saw it once before. Am I going to be greedy and take the blue thingy? I don't even know what to call it. Let's have a look. Let's see what happens. Will I die? Let's turn around. Alright. Let's see if I can just not die. Always a good thing. Yeah, let's get out. Good. Whoa. Wow. So, you know, there's a lot of retro style going on here. Let's die. Let's just show you dying. What happens? Okay, so that's evocative of Pac-Man, and you can sense a lot of kind of arcadey sounds all the way through this. Now the thing is, there's actually a secret in this game, which I kind of was aware there might be something in it when I first played, but it took a little while to like dig it out. And looking around at reviews at the time, I don't know about since, but no one ever mentioned it. And I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only person to find it. So all I need to do is go back to the start of the game. So we're going to come out. Let's just stop there. Actually, what I'll do is show you the other modes. I'll show you the other modes first, and then we will get on to the secret. So there's seed, where you choose a random seed, so it's a random procedural generation seed, and so you can get a particular type of, I think it's all, are they all internal? I don't know. So I can choose this C9. Which one have we got here? We've got this particular box with 2 snakes. And so you can try and challenge yourself with this. And you've only got 1 life, and there's no escape. You have to just keep on going as long as you can. And the interesting thing about the seed mode is that there's a sort of high scores here, and you can see the seed that people have used. So I used the seed CF from the person who was at the top of the list, because I thought, well, if they got a high score with CF, maybe that's a good one. So I managed to get it in 3rd, but maybe there are better seeds out there. Unfortunately, not as good as Reagan's 430 points with seed 88, so I definitely avoided that. We've also got box, which is a very simple box. Again, you'll notice I'm above Reagan Burns. And this is just a simple box with just, you know, nothing else in here except you and the dots. And that's all there is to it. And it's just like a little challenge mode. Let's come out. So those are the 3 different modes. I like to think of the sequence as the campaign mode. So let's have a look at the notes. So it says here, I'm going to read it out directly. Arcade documentary of maze-snake mechanic within changing dimensions, access locks, and the corruption of the system. Collect, grow, avoid your past, and new space. Find new space, wake up. The interesting thing is, it says arcade documentary, and there's nothing in here which you've seen so far which suggests there's anything of the sort. It's just like, well, is it just like I appreciate Snake and therefore? No, there is actually something hidden in here. And the clue is, oh, I quit the game. Let's start it again. Don't press the back button twice. Right. The clue is in the fact that it says ghosts on this level, and it doesn't say it again until the 7th level. Now, I was very careful not to trigger this earlier on. But if you look carefully, when I go over certain squares, there's a lit section. I'm sorry, I'm kind of to spoil this. This game is like 6 years old, okay? So if anyone's going to say spoilers, well, screw you. Anyway, so if we light it all up, 1976, an open field. We have the first segment of what you might call the documentary. So what's going on in here then? Also, when I found this, I was absolutely thrilled. It was just like, oh my god, I found a secret. So let's go to this box here. So in a back room at Gremlin Inc., Lane Hulk engaged in practical creativity drunk walk experiments. So what this is looking at the origins of the snake mechanic. So where next? Okay, here's one. There's another one now. Let's see if I can hit it dead on. Usually the size is into the black indeed. Blockade created an 8080 ASM audio created with a programmable counter for tones and back biasing a diode for noise. So from that, Blockade was created. And we've got another node here. Let's check it out. Displayed at the Chicago ANOA show, I remember watching little groups from every major game company dragging their tech types to our booth, pointing at Blockade and saying, that one, 1976 MOA Best of Show. So, Blockade was very quickly a hit. So, I don't know if anybody's aware, but Blockade, if I remember correctly, it's a game with, is it like 2 snakes? You know, where you have to, like, one kills the other. It's like the Light Cycles game. So whoever gets in front of the other, you know, kind of wins, and the other one dies. Right, let's pick on this one. See, I could never quite get the position. Aha, clones appeared from multiple manufacturers before the release of Blockade. And that, it's very reminiscent of, you know, where we are today. But even back in 1976, you know, the same thing was happening. And so what qrth-phyl actually is a look at a particular lineage of game mechanics, game design. And it starts with Blockade, which is this just like this snake fight. And then we get this evolution with Pac-Man appears, and we have a dot eating mechanic. And then someone puts Snake together with a dot eating mechanic, Blockade together with a dot eating mechanic, and you get the classic Snake where you eat and get longer. And you know, that has been riffed upon over the years. So that is half the documentary. There's more to be found on the 7th level. As you'll notice, coming back out, I've skipped the end of the first level. So if you're having a hard time on the ghosts level, it can be a way of bypassing the rest of that particular level. Now, obviously not a big deal on the first level, but on the 7th, trust me, it can be a bit tricky at times. Now, I didn't know originally whether, so there's ghosts on the first level and ghosts on the 7th level. Were there ghosts on the 13th level? Well, I didn't know that until recently, where I actually managed to pull it off on the new version. And I can tell you, I know whether there's ghosts on the 13th level now. The question is, I want you to point out much more about the design of how this idea of looking back at the lineage of game design is being represented in everything you see in front of you. Now, the Pac-Man noise has been captured, and also the circle dies in the corner, very much like the Pac-Man used to die in the arcade. Here we go. See? So it goes like a clock. And when you finish a level, I come out. Go away, game bar question. You see how it starts? This lo-fi, it's just blocks, and that's harkening back to the original Blockade. It's saying this is the original mechanic being persisted into present day, that this mechanic is still here. It's the same thing. I've got a very pretty snake, But where does that come from? It comes from 1976. And the other thing is, when you finish, and you see this as well in the ghosts of this up, there's a flash of the snake turning into DNA. And I think this is deliberate. I think the point is that the snake is therefore representative of game design. It carries DNA, it continues to expand and iterate. But eventually it will run out of space, an idea will run out of space, and you will have to do something quite distinctly different to move forward. And of course it gets harder and harder and harder. I mean, to actually find some sort of, dig out some uniqueness in the mechanics, dig out something new to add to it. We're constantly seeing innovation of very simple ideas all the time. We still haven't run out of our joy for different puzzle platformers. But I have to say, when I put all those ideas together and what was going on here, I have to say, not only was it a wonderful game, but it had this little sort of, critique is the wrong way, but sort of like a way of looking at game design, nestled within it, just threaded through it, like its own design DNA was to analyze design DNA. And I was kind of blown away, and that is why I called it an astonishing piece of work. And I would say his previous title, Matt Baron's previous title, which was Leave Home, was also really exciting in a different way as well. But I think qrth-phyl outdoes it on every level. Now, there is another game that Matt has made after this called Delta, which I haven't played because it was only available on consoles. It may still come to PC. So I think we will leave it there. I think that's enough qrth-phyl for you today. Exit or continue. But yeah, I've just been playing it again recently and I really love it. I still haven't managed to make my all-time highest score yet, which is about 7498. But maybe at some point. So that is qrth-phyl. Let me go back to my loading screen. If anybody's interested, it's $3.99 at the moment. It's only available on Windows and you get it on Steam. So let me just come out of that game. Got to be careful. Sometimes you actually crash the game, and I end up having trouble trying to actually kill it off. So let me just give you the details of that in the chat. So if you need to follow it up, send a message. Is that going to work? Oh, that doesn't format well at all. Never mind. Well, all the details are there. You can find them. So indeed, we are going to move on next to Storyseeker, which is, I think I picked this up off Rock, Paper, Shotgun. Okay, which one do I want? H. There we go. Right, better get this going because first time you run it, it can take a while to get going. Loading, it does a lot of loading. So I wasn't sure what this is. I'm not going to spoil a lot. It's quite a simple game. It's actually free and it's available for Windows, Mac and Linux. So now this came out last year from qrth-phyl. That is not the developer's real name. The real developer's real name is Miles, followed by a name with a lot of accents and dots above it, and I'm not even going to hazard a guess. But they're known as qrth-phyl on itch and also on Twitter. So starts out like this. You're sitting down, move right. It's keyboard. It's all keyboard. So then we can go over here. Trails are of many shapes, all lead to new stories. Well, that's pretty good. Great. What does the TV say? Our world is changing. And I'm sure at this point you probably have my same reaction. You're like, oh, is this just kind of, basic, pretentious, indie, arty side of things? And give it the benefit of the doubt. Keep on going. Where are we going to go? And then we've got map maker's tools. The maps are empty. Well, that's pretty much the room sorted out. So let's leave the room. go outside the box. And then we're in the middle of God knows where. So let's walk around here. And I'm just going to tell you like how it felt when I was playing this first time. I'm not trying to spoil too much. So we've got some giant foot here, some trees. I'm not sure if you can hear the audio. It is very quiet. I've even turned up the volume. Maybe I'll turn up the volume a little bit more. I can see it's quite low. Let's try that. Okay, so we've got some tracks here. Let's follow these tracks. And oh, we come to a camp with some people and a sign which says refugee camp. Not gone yet. Okay, so this person, I want home. Need more seashells. What else? Smells heavenly. Still would prefer our city back. At least we have food. And this person's just sleeping, it seems. This person, dum-de-dum, laundry time. The fresh smell of salt and slime. Okay. Now there's a sea here, and you know you can actually just walk through it. You get a little bit of a splashy noise, but there's no like, oh no, I can't go deep into the sea, I might die. Not that kind of game. Something spooked the fish. Wow, look at these big turtles. And big snails. Oh, all hail the king of snails. So, let's just see where these guys have come from. Because you see the tracks will go in the other side. See, you can just keep on going, right? It's just like, well, I'll follow this and that and the other. You've got to choose a direction at some point. So, there's this skeleton, big skeleton. And now we start to see like some dilapidated buildings. The tone of the music's changing. I can barely hear it on the headphones here. And giant feet. Okay. Some conveyor belt. What's this guy say? We made a knight to fight the giants. It's all gone now. Okay, we're fighting giants. Okay. Oh, a sign. Unfinished. Welcome to the city of Brightforge. Enjoy your stuff. There you go. And where will you go, traveller? Says this giant obelisk. There's lots of these pits over here. Yeah, we've made some mistakes. Well, it does look like it. There's some kind of explosion here. This city looks like a right mess. Wander around some more. They attacked first. We had to act. This guy looks pretty much dead. Yeah. Whoa, okay, so is that what was attacking? I thought they said giants, or giant beasts. This person lying down here. We deserved what we got. So, oh, the world didn't. So I'm just going to stop here because the world it's not enormous, but it's pretty large. It reminds me of an idea I had when I was younger. I wanted to make, when I used to use art programs, you know, you would zoom up sometimes, you know, to do some fine changes on the painting or picture, whatever you were doing. And when you zoomed in, suddenly this world would look like very tiny. It zoomed up, it would look like a giant world that you could explore instead of just a picture. And I actually thought that would be a good idea for a game at one point, but I think it's been done since. I think it was like a Small World or something like that did a similar thing where it just seemed like it's like a static picture, you're getting to explore it. And this feels very much like that. This is a very vast canvas which doesn't really change, but you get to explore and find out what's on it. And there's little stories strewn across it. you know, it might look like, oh, it's about refugees fleeing a city, but there are more stories and they're all kind of slightly interconnected. And there's more going on here than, you know, than just a little bit of, you know, sad story with the refugees. I don't mean it's like some intense political, you know, piece of work. It's just a little world to potter around and, you know, listen to the stories, and that's exactly what you're doing, Storyseeker. It's not about one story, it's about all the stories. And so your purpose is just to explore. Now, there is sadly a collectible aspect to it, which I could not be bothered with. I had enough fun with spending half an hour, maybe a bit more, an hour with it. Because what happens, you can press escape and it says, would you like to settle down? I'm ready or not yet? Let's just say I'm ready. I'll take a drink. And that's the end of the game. So there you are, writing up your stories, I guess. Or are you? I think actually you were writing this, the map. Remember at the start, the map maker's tools, the map was empty. Well, you've been out there and you've explored. And I think you can look at this. Sorry, I'm distracted. I seem to be losing my Twitch my Twitch connection. I mean, I think I'm uploading, but every now and then it just kind of cuts out. I hope it's not doing the same for you. So you can see that there's plenty of space on the map, and when I got to the end and quit, I realized, oh, okay, I've got a lot more to like explore. And so I went back in and, you know, hit everywhere. That is not the collectible aspect I'm talking about. That's simply like telling you the extent of the world, and maybe you've missed something, missed an area, something that's got a story. But you can see on the left here, there's like that town we were there. There's the footprints to the desert and the refugee camp. And we started around the edge of that green space in the middle. So it's free if you want to have a go and just wander around and just piece together some of the stories. It's broad strokes with a few like very small, tiny little stories, like, you know, this is my wife, that's my dog, and it's a nice harmless thing, which I got more out of than I was expecting. So there you go, probably half an hour of play. If you want to do the collectible thing, knock yourselves out. I have no idea what happens if you collect all the collectibles. I did see someone refer to it as anticlimactic. So that's all I want to say about Storyseeker. So let us move on to Evergarden. Oh, hang on, I should copy in the Storyseeker details into the chat and make a mess like I did last time. Let's see. Let's put that in there. There you go. It's free and it is available on Windows, Mac and Linux. Or use people who don't just have Windows but other systems. Right, let's jump into Evergarden. Oh, that's up quickly. Right, let me switch you back in. Right, down the bottom right now, hiding out down here. So Evergarden, this actually just came out. It's from Flipfly, and their previous game was Race the Sun, which is not a game I played. I sort of avoided it a little bit because it was like, it's like one of those like avoiding crashing into things, a twitchy game, which is actually what Delta was, which was the game that Matt Barron made after qrth-phyl. And so anyway, I saw a screenshot of this, and I think it was it's Aaron. I was asking anybody, you know, if they anybody wanted the key, you know, for their game they had reached out to, and I thought, okay, looks nice. So it's a puzzle game, but it doesn't explain what's going on, which did attract me. So I'm gonna not play too far because I don't really want to spoil anything for anybody who wants to have a go themselves, because frankly I feel like the start of the game is probably the most interesting bit. I'll qualify that a bit more in a moment. What I'll do is reset the game, Don't worry, I backed it up. Yes, there you are, Aaron, San Filippo. Oh, please confirm. Yes. Right, so let's just start. So it opens with a desk, and oh, okay, I can click onto the desk. I can pick that triangle up. Nothing happening. Okay, well, maybe we move the triangle into here. It was glowing. Don't worry, I'm not spoiling. This is like this is not really a puzzle you need to be worried about. I am sorry, but things will be very confusing for you at first. Please know that I never meant to hide any of this from you. Touch the glass and you will begin to understand. Mom. So we get a little, it's like a snow globe. Click that. And in we go. So you do get a little bit of a tutorial of sorts. So we have this little flower here and it says plant. Okay, so I can plant there. Then it says grow and it's highlighting the clock up here. So clock goes by. Okay, now we got two flowers. Combine, all right. Okay, I got a bigger flower. Repeat. I guess you can plant again. Now there's nothing else we could do, so let the clock go by. They grow. I guess that's it. Maybe we can combine those two guys. Maybe we do one more combine. So then the game opens up. That's it. That's your tutorial over. Alright, see you guys, and that's pretty much it. And then you're left with this grid with no explanation about what you're doing. I mean, the graphics are very pretty. There's a statue of a deer. And then you've got some flowers, so let's just keep on going. Plant seeds. Of course I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just pretending. This is what went through my head when I first saw it. So we've got, there's a number counting down here, and notice that when anything I do causes the score to go up here. Okay, we can combine those. Oh, we combine those. We've got a bigger plant now. There we go. Right. Let's make lots more baby plants. Okay, good. And you're not really sure why you're doing any of this. It's like, well, what's the end game here? And you know, you can't leave a level without something to grow. Can't make the clock go by unless it's something to grow. Anyone who has played this game already will be looking at me like, whoa, he's making some real rubbish moves. Yes. Right, so I want to just wind it down and just get to the end of the time. Last turn. Let's combine those two. An even bigger flower. So that's our last turn. Now what happens? So everything gets scooped up, goes into the deer. Romanos 14 says, yeah, my OCD just hurt me a bit. So the deer wakes up and then it starts again. You get the press the play button and it just starts again. And I was looking at this again, oh, okay. And I did it. I tried to make as big as plants as possible and maybe try to make a high score as possible. And to be honest, when I started, it wasn't very good. And then all the points go into the deer and it just stops. It's just like, okay, good for you. That's your points. Why don't you try again? And I was like, okay, I've seen the trailer for this and a lot more is happening in this game than just like doing these plants. And there is, and I'm not going to tell you how that all happens, but there is more to it. And effectively, there is actually 2 games here. Is that really true? There's 2 halves of it. There's the puzzle here. This puzzle, I'd say, makes me feel like Threes or 2048 if you're so inclined. But really, honestly, if 2048 is your idea of a puzzle game, you're on the wrong channel. So the actual, there's this puzzle which is all about doubling and building up your flowers and trying to make something of that. And then there's the other half of the game, which is a bit like a point and click through a forest, solving much more simpler puzzles. And there's a little bit of what you might like hidden object game in it as well. And you find that you have to spend time in the puzzle and then out in the forest, and you tend to flip between the 2. And so this is interesting, but after a little while, I felt like I was grinding a bit, that I wanted to move more in the forest, but you know, I needed to do more of this puzzle to make some progress. And this puzzle is fine, but the nature of the puzzle changes as you make more progress to the forest. Effectively, you get more abilities, and so you can get higher scores the further up you get through the forest. So don't be worried about your rubbish scores at the start of the game. And yeah, then that happens, and I had no idea what that means. What? I mean, what is that? The deer is thinking of some hexagons, and I was like, it took me a few games before I realized what that was. I couldn't read that at all, but when the deer showed me a different pattern, I figured it out immediately. But that didn't look like, I don't understand that at all. And so, yeah, I mean, I like the puzzle, but I find I get so focused on it now, trying to get a very high score. It's not really about the score so much, but it's about the progress you make through it. It's just like a score attack puzzle. It's not like, you know, Soccer Bound where you're just trying to find the exit or whatever, or you know, get all the boxes in the right place. It's random, and when I actually focus on this puzzle so intensely, I find like I don't want to do it again for a little while. So it's like, oh right, I've spent like 20 minutes or more on the puzzle because I'm really thinking carefully about every move I make. Because you know what Threes was like, that you have to think about how things are gonna, you know, how are you gonna get your, you know, I can't remember the numbers, the 512s. Oh god, that's 2048. 768s. How are you gonna get your 768s together? You know, they're further apart, they have to build up, and you've got to be able to have the room so you can move them together. And there's a lot of that in this game. You have to think quite carefully about where you're going to have your flowers appearing, where are going to be combining. And so many times I make a mistake and I want to undo just one move because I just pressed the wrong place and it's too late. There's a slight problem, you see, where if I do that and I don't want to do it anymore, sometimes I don't realize it's still clicking, that I've still got the flower clicked, and so it'll do that and I'm like, oh no, that's not what I wanted, and you know, it's done. There's no way of undoing it. But yeah, I would just do a level and like, I want to make more progress to the forest, but I'll have to make more progress to the forest. I have to do a lot better at the puzzle. I'll do the puzzle multiple times, and it's like once I've done the puzzle once, it's like I want to walk away and like come back to it another time, and maybe that's all right for you. But unfortunately, I'm a bit of a person who, like, you know, I always think about like the churn of games I've got to get through. You know, I want to see more so I can talk more. And so when I get a game on my head, I like, oh, I want to get it done and get it finished. And so that kind of, it felt a bit more grindy to me. But I think a lot of people will probably have some fun with that. Oh dear, didn't mean to do that at all. So there are lots of little secrets and things in that, and that puzzle, the flower puzzle, does get more detailed as the game moves on. I'm going to pull out of there before I reveal too much about what's going on in that game. There we go, it's gone, it's gone. Let's go to the next one. So that was Evergarden, which just came out recently. It is on Windows and iOS. If you, I've written down price free. I don't think so. I can't remember what price it was. I obviously just copied and pasted the wrong thing there. It is not free. I think it's $9.99 or something, but don't quote me. Right. Well, okay, let me just say it's not free in the chat, just to make that very clear. Let's move on to the final title, which is Ellipsis, which I do believe I got a key for this as well. I got this a while back. Let me just get this started up. Yes, very high, please. All right. Oh dear. I can't show you that. Let me... Ta-da! Right. Here we are. And I think I'm going to need to move my head. Maybe we'll just move me a little bit. No, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. Right, so this is Ellipsis, and this is how the game starts. Pretty much. I mean, that's it. That's all you get. And this came out in 2016. It came out. It's out currently for Windows, Android, iOS, Linux, and Mac. So, if you've whatever platform, there's no excuse not to play it. And it looked pretty. And to be honest, I sunk a lot of time into this over a few days because it was a lot of fun. So here we go. It's mouse controlled, at least on Windows anyway. Click that. Okay. So I'm with this little ball, and I can get the 1. Okay. 2, 3. Oh, did you notice that? Well, I didn't get one of the dots. So if you bang it gently, these dots escape. So if I do it quickly, you can't pick them all up in one go, or unless you do your attack, I'm going to put it that way, accurately. That's an important point. I've got nothing else left to do now, so I guess I go through that. So all the dots I collected means I got 4 stars. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, we've got some red things in here now, which, as you might expect, death. And it's very quick, rapid restart. Most of these levels are very fast. A lot of them require you to move quite fast. Some of them are slower because you have to be very careful. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can just leave if I want to, rather than just get that. But obviously I won't get all the stars. Let's just go through. There we go. 4 stars. Now, let me point out something which is not clear, but if you finish a level and go back, you can get a 5th star. There's a time limit at the top. Watch the green bar at the top, which is about to appear, and there's little green circles on it. So I've got until, I don't want to lose any of those those dots. Can I get those? Yes. And out. And I will gain the green dots from the time bar as well, making the 5th star. So there's an extra challenge to every single level where there's a time limit if you want to get that extra star. I did not get everyone. I got a lot of them. Okay. Alright, slightly different. 4. Alright, getting more busy. Right, that's okay. got the mouse under control here. Now let's go back and see what the challenge is like there. Right, how quickly can we do it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I get it? Did I lose that last dot? Ah, I lost the last dot. That's how close it is. See if I can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's a lot of muscle memory in this, where you actually get used to the moves you have to make. 5, 6. There we go. Mouse. I'm not sure about the accuracy of a mouse though. It's like it feels at times where it's just like expect to be. There's some levels where I felt like I was expecting, you know, super mouse skills super mouse accuracy, and I couldn't guarantee that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they're off. Let's get that one. Why not? So it's quite nice and straightforward. There's the next one. I'm not going to go back and do the challenge for that last one. Just want to show you. Oh, okay. The kind of variety it's on offer here. I need to go back in. 3, 4. Let's just go. There was a 5th one in the corner there, and I didn't get it. So that's, gosh, just 2 stars. I didn't get that. Let's go into this one. Have a look in here. All right. So 1, 2, 3. Whoa, 5. Let's get out. But it's, I mean, it was really fun to go back to a lot of these levels and try and get them. It wasn't like, a lot of them weren't like crazy hard. This is tough. 2, whoa, 3. Oh, it's not too hard if you do it slowly. Let's get this one. But doing this timed, now that is a nice interesting challenge. Okay, let's have a look at doing that timed. Let's have a go at doing that one timed. That's where it starts to get a bit hairy. 2, 3, 4. Okay, what? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down here, down here, down here. Come on, come on. Get in, get in. There we go. There we go, 5 stars. And it's very satisfying. But notice we've got a map forming here, so I'm going to reveal to you the full scope of the map. It's pretty large. And things do get quite hairy in a lot of these levels. Let's pick one at random. Let's have a look here. Let's choose this one. I don't know what's going on. It's just random. Okay. 1. Whoa! 3. Right. Oh, it's that one. 1. Okay. 2. Alright, so what's going to appear when I get this one? Ah, I screwed that up. Look at that. Dots everywhere. Yes, I think I'll just creep out here. But I did get 5 on this. Look at this. I did it. I got a 5 on this one before. Let's have a look down here. Look at this one. Oh, I did get a 5 in this. Whoa. Okay. Let's go again. Oh my gosh. Wow. You can see why I didn't do this one. Oh. So you get near to those guys and they wake up and they go after you. So do I just stay here? No, I've woken those guys up already. I just want to do better, that's all. Oh. Right. This really is about... Oh, what's the 3rd one? This really is about choreography. I'm remembering where to go. Every time I get one, I'm being attacked. Oh, I missed those ones. You have to hit them at just the right way to make sure you get them as well. So, oh dear. You see how many times I would have done this one to try and get as many stars as possible. Right, maybe I should go over the top. That'll be easier. Yeah, that one. Oh, that one. Oh, I got from the bottom. Fine. What? Yeah, so I'm just trying to show you. This is an example of where they got really tough. So anyway, that is Ellipsis, which is $9.99 at the moment on Steam. Anyway, I didn't check the prices elsewhere. But yeah, they came out in 2016, and I really kind of enjoyed that. So let's go and have a look here at. I'll just quickly give you the deets. There you go. So copy and paste that out. There you go. My usual mess. There's the link for the website. $9.99 at the moment on practically every platform. So I hope. I think that's pretty much all we're going to do today. We've done it within an hour. So good on me. If anybody has any questions, feel free to tweet them or email them. Twitter is easy, I guess. And I'll do my best to answer them. These are all interesting games, you know, and I hope you found something out of them that you might want to have a go at, whether it's arcadey, puzzly, or just a bit like a walking simulator, if that term is your kind of term. It's not mine. It's not mine. So anyway, thank you for turning up. Been a pretty good, brisk session this month, and hopefully be back next month with some other alternatives for you to look at. Thanks very much, everybody. See you later.